All right, welcome to the Lockdown Podcast. We are here to continue to talk about the nonsense that is WWE, Raw, SmackDown, a little bit of NXT. We're working towards Elimination Chamber, so I would say we don't have too much to get to, but we always seem to float through time and space when it comes to our rabbit trails that we have. So gonna basically kind of start, with basically Raw and the nonsense that it seems to be. So Sammy basically comes out. Sammy is, after all these recommendations, and I really hated that they kind of didn't really play him off TV much for literally what happened. I thought it was a little bit, disingenuous. But so he basically demands, a match with Kevin. Um, Adam Pierce comes out, basically says, "Hey, I can't sanction that." And I thought that was kind of a funny pun when he said, "Oh, I can't sanction it." And
Yeah, my ass.
so, so they have a unsanctioned match at Elimination Chamber, which I mean, it's they might as well just have like a no disqualification match, but unsanctioned just sounds more fun for them to say. Like, they list like these no disqualification matches with so many different renderings, whether it's street fights or Donnybrook matches or whatever they want to label, but essentially it's just a no DQ. Unsanctioned basically just quote unquote means they're not responsible for what happens to either of them in the match.
Yeah, they just
Um,
want they just want to give it a title like that just to get more people hyped for it. Thinking, oh sweet, they're gonna let them do whatever the hell they want to each other.
yeah,
Like, no, there's still uh stuff they have to follow in there, like chair shots and all this other crap.
yeah, and so it's kind of a very loose term, but
Mm-hmm.
so like the week prior, basically Dom and AJ Styles kind of had a little bit of a confrontation in back, which led to a match, which AJ, one of AJ Styles' first match in quite a long time. He obviously destroys, Dominic. I mean, Dominic he's just like a body in that ring. Like
It was.
I
I thought it was a good match. I actually thought it was.
I I mean I still think Dominic still has, he has plenty of time to find his way in the ring. I still think his moveset's kind of basic. Basically kind of playing off of his dad's stuff, Eddie Guerrero stuff. So he's kind of just like this hybrid of two different people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but so after the match, man, I don't know who like can take a spear from Braun Breaker and not feel like your soul left your body. But but like so AJ Styles jumps out of the way, Braun Breaker just demolishes him. I think this is just kind of a slow storyline build to maybe we get Braun Breaker, AJ Styles, maybe WrestleMania. I don't think
It,
you
it is a
know.
room. It is kind of a rumor because a lot of people have been posting a lot of pictures of those two being a match at WrestleMania for the title.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too is like AJ Styles has nothing left to prove, and Braun Breaker still has everything to prove, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, not that Braun Breaker honestly hasn't come out of the box strong. I think this is his second reign as IC champion.
It is.
He's a two-time NXT champion. And so his resume is quite glorious for, the short tenure that he has had in NXT slash main roster. But I definitely think it's kind of crazy that you have Braun Breaker kind of coming out strong versus a lot of these other superstars that have come from NXT and they come up and they get kind of lost in the shuffle. I think honestly, him being a Steiner, I think, honestly, kind of gives him that extra edge. But obviously, he's put in the work, so it's not like, oh, he's getting these because of his name. Like he's getting opportunities because of his name per se, but like his ring IQ and his you know athletic prowess, you could say, speaks for itself. He's very, very precise in the ring. Ask I show speed how a spear feels. Um, so precision is definitely Braun Breaker's wheelhouse. Um, so this has been the talk of the town amongst a lot of YouTubers, a lot of other podcasters, is that Lyra Valkyria has not even defended her own title, but yet somehow gets an opportunity for Elimination Chamber. Now, that is the biggest load of garbage I've ever seen in my life. When you haven't even defended your own title to sit there and apply for a title for a match at WrestleMania, like we know you weren't going to win, but it's a
No.
joke that you were even in this particular match. Um, so this week we have, a number one contenders match. And they have missed big time on women's secondary championships. I am not alone in that. I have heard multiple streamers, podcasters, YouTubers, rumor roundups, everything of how bad they have messed up with the women's secondary titles. So we have a number one contenders match, and it's not even like a fatal four-way. It's not a six-pack challenge. It is not anything. It is Ivy Nile, who really is just a glorified bulldog slash just little person to basically be part of, you know, what is this stupid American Made? So
Yeah.
like you portray her as a super talented individual, but yet she's gotten nothing since she's been really on the main roster.
Yeah,
Um,
they haven't really been pushing her much. They've just been pushing her brothers a little bit more than than her. I think I could see her as a intercontinental champion or a women's world heavyweight champion because she has the material, she has the body, she has the strength to hold both of those titles, and she can put down in that range. They
you
just haven't
know,
really been pushing her.
I just think that nothing happens for the majority of the NXT call ups for years into their their time on the main roster. Unfortunately, we have a stacked roster that we do really nothing with. Um, and it's unfortunate because you have, like you said, she's very talented, but yet she's getting looked over. So now we get to run it back with Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria were the last ones in the tournament. And now we're just running it back again. Um, and it'll probably be on Raw next week or something. I don't think it's gonna make much of a
No, I think it's this week.
yeah. So I mean it, but it's like again, these secondary titles really aren't doing much for anything. They're not even really main eventing shows. Like especially when you have kind of absent, other champions on the men's side until, not really have women be maining event a Raw or SmackDown for titles and stuff. But so basically we just basically get a run back with Dakota Kai and Lyra Valkyria. Now I I give Lyra maybe a month or two as champion. Um, I think if they give it to Dakota Kai, it wouldn't be far fetched. I wouldn't be against it. I think the title would do more for Dakota Kai than it would Lyra Valkyria. I think Dakota Kai, with as much injury stricken as she's been over her length of the time on the main roster. I mean, even NXT, honestly. I mean, she's been dealing with a lot of knee issues for a really long time. And
They I looked up for the lineup for Raw tomorrow, saying The first thing is CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Logan Paul to appear. Rhea Ripley to send him a message to EI Sky, the World Heavyweight Champion. Gunter's supposed to speak. New Day versus LWO. Penta versus Kaiser versus Pete Dunne. And then the Women's Intercontinental Championship. That match is going to want to happen tomorrow, including the Women's Tag Team Championship.
Which is a giant snooze fest.
Yeah,
But
it's gonna be with
so basically Raw just sounds like a bologna sandwich of a show. So
it says the update might change, but that's what it's showing on the website I'm looking at.
Yeah. I mean, man, I just really think that like I love how they came out so strong for the Netflix premiere, on Raw and Raw on Netflix, and just they've fumbled it ever since.
Let's just say the first Raw on Netflix, the first episode was good. It was a banger.
Oh yeah. Well,
but after since then, it went downhill.
Yeah. So, I mean, they continue to show celebrities at Raw and stuff, but I feel like that's not really that important to me. I mean, because like when you had who was it, the wide receiver that was there last week from San Francisco? Wasn't Nick Bosa, but he was just there as a fan. He wasn't even in his hometown. Like he was just there. I mean, I like that they kind of acknowledge the celebrities there, and I think they do that actually when most people are on like commercial break. So I think that's kind of just I guess a little gem for us who seem to not get commercials like everybody else. But so main event, Jey Uso comes out, and before he even gets into full Yeet Fest, Gunther comes out, they tussle. I love the build for this. And Jay's gonna win. Like I like
Oh yeah.
there is without a shadow of a doubt that Jay wins the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. I have zero doubts.
I know he will 100%. If they do not give it to him, that's gonna piss off a lot of fans.
Oh, beyond.
People will boo out. You'll be hearing so many boos in that fucking arena.
You might, if they do not put the title on Jay and he wins, you will get a Hollywood Hulk Hogan-esque situation. People will be throwing trash, beer, everything onto the thing, and they're not going to like it. So you best damn give it to the Yeet Master because
he deserves it.
Oh, 100%. And I just think it's and I like that Jimmy Uso is back in the fray on SmackDown.
I love his outfits.
Yeah, I mean, Big Jim. So I think I honestly think that he might be going for a title soon as well. He does not. He obviously doesn't have the pull that his brother does.
Let's say the U.S. is over there on SmackDown. He can go for that U.S. title.
Yeah. So I don't. So Penta continues to rack up the W's, beating Pete Dunne, aka Butch. And so I love this. I love every bit of it. Like Penta is an absolute stud. Carmelo Hayes uses the phrase, Mello don't miss. Penta don't miss either.
Oh, nope.
Like, I mean, I don't even know how old Penta really even is. He's got to be he's got to be 40.
Oh, let me look.
Cuz like he's been doing this for longer than most of people have existed on this earth. But so
he is 40 years old.
cheap. Yeah. And 40 in wrestling years is like 60 for the rest of us normies.
That
So
is true.
like I don't think people understand like I've never gone back and forth on the ropes, but like that's not like it's not like rubbery. Like
All I could say out of both of us, I been inside a TNA ring when TNA came to Grand Rapids, and it was at the last time it was at the Van Annel, and it was me and my ex in the back in the day. We got to meet Mr. Anderson at that time. We got a picture in the ring.
Mr.
Got
Anderson.
to go in the ring and get a picture with him, and I actually ran up against those ropes and see what it felt like. Oh, got it. I don't know how the fuck they do it. That shit hurt.
Yeah. Well, and they have to have it at a certain tightness too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no,
Now
I
standing in one of those rings and seeing the seats, seeing what they see, God, I don't know how they do it. I would probably fuck up a lot in the ring.
so we talked last week in regards to having this elimination chamber where it's like a couple like two tag teams plus a friend of a tag team and then Alexa Bliss, but I absolutely love Roxanne Perez. I She is called the Prodigy for a reason. She is a multi-time NXT Women's Champion. She now, and you can take this to the bank, but even though she didn't win Royal Rumble, but she has the record now. So Little Miss Perez is the longest longest woman to be in a Royal Rumble match. So whether you love her or hate her, like that's an hour. It was like an hour 7. Okay, like I can't even sit and like talk for an hour to someone, let alone be active in a match for an hour. Like respect. And I think this is definitely I think she just gets called up, period. I don't think there's with this being, elimination chamber and this is a pretty much the go home PLE to WrestleMania, like she's getting called up by
Oh yeah,
NXT,
definitely.
You know,
I'm gonna say she's gonna get called up uh probably the Raw after WrestleMania because that's when they usually do a lot of call ups from NXT.
yeah. I mean, but obviously she's already proven. Um, but no, so your women's elimination chamber is so you have Roxanne Perez, Bailey, Naomi, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, and Alexa Bliss. I really honestly don't care who wins this. Like, I just don't want Liv Morgan to win.
No.
That's it. Like
I like Liv Morgan, but I'm getting tired of seeing her for the
I
championship.
what's the thing is like, and she's like they're talking about how many elimination chambers she's been into, but I'm like, guess what? You ain't won that many. I don't even think she's
Yeah,
won one of
Alexa
them.
Bliss has been in
Like, couple
probably a little
too.
bit more than her.
Well, I think they said Liv Morgan's been in every, but I could be wrong on that stat. But either way, like we said last week, we're basically getting a run back, you know, 3 to 4, from both men and women's eliminated chamber that are just repeats. And I think that's bad for business. But that's just me. But so we continue to have this absolute asshole of a tour for Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Um, their family hate them. WWE hates them. They're doing their job. like,
Definitely.
and so, like, I don't care how you slice it. Like, this heel New Day and their new music and everything else.
I don't
It's
like
not
their new music.
it's not lovey dovey, but it fits the heel, rendition. It wasn't. I remember, the 10, 12, whatever years it was that, they had the choir and everything. And, yeah, and so from there to now, like, I love it. I think it's great for them to kind of be assholes after being such cheery people, and really Kofi's been a chipper person for the 15 plus years of his career. And so I just think, you know what? A change of pace is never a bad thing. So our main event of Raw was Seth freaking Rollins versus Finn for basically the last qualifying spot. There was obviously Seth. Okay, so Seth wins the whole thing, but there was a point in the match. I don't know if you've seen the clips, but essentially the referee counted 1, 2, 3, but Finn basically was delayed on getting his shoulder up. Seth showed an abundance of frustration, literally giving the DX chop to the referee. Obviously he ends up winning, so now we basically have the full men's elimination chamber, which is Damian Priest, Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, John Cena, Drew McIntyre. I am very intrigued to see how the men's play out, because I think as long as it's not Logan Paul, I'm fine.
Please don't be.
So I seen this bit the other day, and so when CM Punk basically has a favor to get from Paul Heyman, right? And the rumor mills are stirring in regards to that favor, and that favor might be Roman Reigns helping CM Punk win Elimination Chamber. I don't know how much validity it has, but I mean, it's the long-term storybooking of this whole favor that Paul Heyman owes to CM Punk. So definitely, I'm looking forward to I hope that the men's elimination chamber is the main event. Just because there's so much riding on the line right now. In regards to who's gonna face Cody Rhodes. But so SmackDown, Big Jim defeats Drew McIntyre, and he's pretty salty about it. So, I honestly I love Jimmy Uso's freaking ring gear. I think it's cool and it's fun. It's definitely something different, and it's nice to see that we can separate the Usos for once.
Yeah.
And because it's for years it was like twin magic. It was like they were like the Samoan Bella twins, and so so and I think it's been like a real cool journey to watch them both kind of come into their own. Just because it's hard being twins, right? And they're identical twins, so it's not even there's mild differences. It basically, like the Bella twins. It basically took Nikki Bella getting titty implants to basically differentiate from her flat-chested sister. So but the Usos haven't had to do anything drastic to change, their appearance too much to differentiate them from each other. So I think it's fun. I think everyone's having fun right now in WWE. I really do. I think that they're putting on great shows. It's great entertainment, and I think they're all singing "Kumbaya" and back and be like, "Yeah, we nailed it," So definitely, things are going well. So man, Carmelo Hayes and The Miz face off against LA Knight and R-Truth, and let me tell you about R-Truth. He is a national treasure, okay?
Definitely. Looks
Mean,
good for his age.
well, not even that. It's just the fact that there was points in the ring where he went to go pin or call the count against Carmelo Hayes. And then he was in the Miz's corner at one point, and in the funnest part, the most fun, was the fact that like the R-Truth comes out and says Louisiana's own Louisiana Knight or something like that, and like and LA Knight comes out and he's just like, and I think R-Truth is the ultimate character breaker in WWE, and honestly, I'd say for the last 20 years, like he's a character breaker. He's a laugh making like person, and I think he honestly loves what he does. Like I know Frederick, who's obviously not here because everybody needs a break once in a while, but like he's high on R-Truth for champion, which I don't think it's gonna happen. But like I still think R-Truth honestly is his age. He is old as all get out, but like he's still doing what he loves to do, and I think to have longevity like that, I think it's great. I don't even, he's earned the respect of, millions of people. I mean, he's up in years, but still doing, the craziest thing. He's given montage to his childhood hero John Cena, and you know, just having fun. Like he's honestly probably, I think honestly out of everybody in WWE, I think he's having the most fun.
Oh, definitely.
Cause like he doesn't have to really do anything but just be R-Truth. Like in the realest of sense. Like it's just fun. But Carmelo Hayes and the Miz defeat LA Knight and R-Truth. I think there's something to be said for the Miz and his ability to have camaraderie with just about anybody. I I like the Mellow Don't Miz. I think they did the finisher, which was basically a skull crushing finale into the first 48, which is Carmelo. It's basically like a code breaker. Um, but I thought that was kind of cool. I like that the Miz is kind of taking a back seat essentially, and helping out these NXT stars basically, get out, when they come to the main roster. He did the same thing with Tommaso, and Tommaso's great now. I feel like Carmelo is going to get kind of lost in the shuffle, even though he's having matches in a semi-regular regular week. But I think the Miz will help him find his way. And if anybody can teach Carmelo Hayes how to get people to absolutely hate your guts, it's the Miz. So I think the Miz is having fun with this at this point because he's got nothing left to prove. He was the first 2-time Grand Slam champion, ever. So I mean, you got to put some respect on his name. And guess what?
I think both of those guys would be a good tag team. It'll be a great freaking heel.
Oh yeah. I mean, if the Miz is the king of having you hate his guts. So, and I've spoke very openly about how much I love Carmelo Hayes and his ego and his just, I'm better than you mentality. And to a certain extent, he is really good. So, number 1 draft pick, baby. I mean, so first round draft pick. I mean, they seen something. They're WWE and the fans are seeing what I've seen for the last umpteen years with Carmelo Hayes and NXT. And that's why I always preach about watching watching NXT if you can, just because you can see how good they are before they get to the main roster. They're not just any Joe Schmo that got called up. So, if you ever have a chance, go back in the archives of NXT and just watch this dude, what he's done in NXT. So oh man. So Tiffany Stratton basically has a match with Candice LeRae. I mean, it took the turns that we knew it was going to take. We knew that Nia Jax would get involved. We knew that Charlotte Flair would come out. We knew eventually Tiffany Stratton's nip would come out. So like this match is about as predictable as it can get. But so during this match, all this is going on, and here comes the one, the only Trish Stratus to help out Tiffany Stratton, which didn't end too well for the for either of them getting the Annihilator from Nia Jax. I would not want to be in that position ever. So they both got stacked. So um so now we're basically getting a match at Elimination Chamber with Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I definitely think this is good for Candice LeRae. She's definitely, ever since her husband went and went back with DIY and Tommaso Ciampa, she's kind of got lost in the shuffle. She was pretty decent in NXT. I don't think she was a standout. I think when they got called up, it was more or less a package deal. Because she's really not that great. Like stature, athleticism, she's pretty basic. But I feel like right now with her kind of being this heel, this second fiddle to Nia Jax, I think it gets her TV time, it gets her in ring time, and I think in her career, I think it's good as long as long as she's on TV, she's good with that. So, um, so another segment. So there's still this whole thing with who hurt Jade Cargill nonsense, blah blah blah. And they showed us this footage to try to deter us from what we know is not factual. And like Liv and Raquel, they did not do anything to Jade Cargill. And if they and if that's the story they're running with, and that's what we get, we're all pissed. That's the most cliche outcome for Jade Cargill and all this other nonsense. Because I'm sorry, it has to be Naomi or Bianca. It has to. Because there's not a shadow of a doubt that I have with the fact that all of a sudden Jade Cargill gets hurt and Naomi just walks in and I'll be your tag partner. Like, that is some grandiose BS, and it has to be one of them.
I'm gonna say Naomi. I'm gonna say it's her because I think she got jealous because Jay was getting more spotlight in the team than she was. I think there's a little bit of jealousy there. You're mute.
Yeah. So I don't care. Sorry, when I vape, I don't want to hear it go. Because Frederick mocked me about vaping. But so like I don't care how it plays out. They're gonna lose these tag team championships. I'd say sooner rather than later. I don't. Who are they facing on Monday?
Liv Morgan and whatever her name is.
Raquel Rodriguez. Why are we running this back for the 800th fucking time? Like we have
it doesn't say they're in a match, but it says that's what's showing for tomorrow with them.
Like I'm so sick of them not utilizing the whole fucking roster, and then we're just getting these run back tag team matches. Like it's boring. The women's tag team is boring. Boring. Okay, like they've done nothing with
women's tag team on NXT is a lot better than the main roster.
100%. And let's just keep on running the same matches back. Gosh, come on, dude. Way to give us the same scoop of vanilla pudding over and over again and expecting us to think it's anything different. Like, you have a full roster. Make up some tag teams. Like, bring up some NXT people. Bring up some NXT tag teams. They're full.
Or TNA.
Yeah, well, TNA is only going to be on NXT. They're not going to be on the main roster. But no, and it's I don't like this constant, like, your reign is garbage, okay? Like, Chelsea Green's defended her title a handful of times. Lara went into a match for a WrestleMania spot before she ever even defended her actual title. Like, they are missing so bad right now with these championships. Like, just blatantly missing. And so I'm not liking it one bit. But I hope to God they have to lose those titles sooner rather than later. And then we can get this Jade Cargill and Bianca match at WrestleMania. Because they're saying that, so being that Bianca and Naomi are in the Elimination Chamber, they're saying that Jade might come back to fuck up both of their opportunity at going to WrestleMania. Because it only makes sense. There's only 2 people in that women's match that even remotely that make the most sense to go to WrestleMania. Bayley or Alexa Bliss. And I'm putting my chips on Alexa Bliss because I don't want like Bayley or Alexa Bliss. That's it. I don't want to see the Bianca's already a champion. Naomi's already a champion. Liv's already been champion. And Raquel's just there. Like, I don't want to see any of it. I want Bayley or Alexa Bliss. That's it. The men's, I'm honestly, so I seen this thing the other day and it made a lot of sense. Is that so? At the end, so during SmackDown, we basically got, I'm like in the middle of the show, we got The Rock coming out and basically telling Cody to essentially sell his soul to The Rock and be his champion, which I think was the stupidest bit on the fucking green earth. Like, The Rock just interjects his way into anything he wants, no storyline, no anything, and then we have to wait for Elimination Chamber to see Cody's response. Like,
stupid.
No one gives a shit, dude. Like, no one cares about anything when it comes to The Rock. And the only thing that seems to be is what we've talked about for months is that we want to heal Cody, right? But like, the problem is that I would have rather had a heel Cody going after the championship than after the fact, because once he loses that championship, he might as well retire. Because there's nothing left for him. He's not going to go after any secondary titles. He's not going to become a tag team partner. Like, there's nothing left for Cody Rhodes when he loses that title. Like, period. Like, there's nothing for Cody. He's not going to go mid-card because he's got all this pizzazz. And we spent 2 years him trying to finish the story. And then we have him win back-to-back Royal Rumbles. And then finally win the second time in a tribal combat match, which just basically turned out to be a plethora of people on both sides of the wrestlers coming on and doing all this extra shit and blah blah, and like, it was utter chaos when he won it. Like, it was just stupid. There was so much going on, and I hate tribal combat.
Oh, same. It's a stupid freaking match. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't even stand it the first time.
No, and it's just stupid. And then it's like we had Roman go and win back the Ula Fala or whatever, and then he's been off TV ever since. And now, realistically, there's no bloodline anything. Like, there is zero bloodline anything, because essentially Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu come out as just Jacob Fatu's music. They're not introduced as the bloodline. There's nobody's saying anything about the bloodline. Solo came back, and I feel like we're gonna get a Solo Jacob Fatu match anytime soon here.
Well, that would be a good match.
You know, so like, we're gonna get that eventually. You know, I hope Tonga Loa comes back and Tama Tonga, they both leave to go back to being GOD, and then we can move on with our lives, because the bloodline on both sides is finito. It is finished. It is over with. And I'm glad they fast-tracked it after that match for the Ulafala. Like, it's done. Bloodline stuff is done. Jimmy's doing his own thing. Jay's doing his own thing. I don't even know what Roman's doing. Getting paid a lot of money to do jack shit while the rest of us have to be subjected to watching all the mid-card that are getting paid way freaking less and having to show
Pretty
up week
much.
in, week out. Like, he might as well retire. Like, we only have 2 people right now for the Hall of Fame, which is Triple H and Michelle McCool. So I hope they start churning out some names because there's usually, I think, like 4 or there's like, I think there's like 4 or 5.
I think it's 5.
Well, because they usually have the 2 on the side and then 1 in the middle. Or they haven't done the Warrior Award in a while. So I don't know what they'll do with that. Give it to Charles Robinson. Charles Robinson for Warrior Award. I'm gonna put it in the air. Yeah, so we're still waiting on Hall of Fame stuff. But yeah, I mean, that segment was boring. That segment was stupid. I'm sick of The Rock. # sick of The Rock. He just interjects himself because he's on the board. Like, that's all it is. It's a power play. I'll show up whenever.
Definitely.
Because Cody was pissed. Cody was like, no, I'm in a triple threat. And then they switch out that for just a tag team match. Woo. Like, just dumb. So we have a tag team championship match between DIY and Pretty Deadly. Everybody's downplaying Pretty Deadly. And DIY basically made fun of them. This match basically ended in a no contest. Just because it just got out of hand, and that's nothing to be surprised about. So man. So after this whole nonsense with DIY and Pretty Deadly, we get Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins in definitely going heel. They beat up everybody, okay? They beat up DIY. The Motor City Machine Guns came out. They beat the crap out of them. Like, now this is where I'm like, okay, what are you guys even doing with the tag team when you have Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford that are like going ham on everybody? Give him a title shot. Give him a title reign. Let them be heel on TV. Like,
I love the heel of them.
And so I like give them the championships. Like, DIYs are not as strong of a heel as Street Profits. Like, just based on that one segment, give them a title shot. Maybe we'll have a fatal 4-way for them in the near future. Maybe
maybe at WrestleMania.
We'll probably get a fatal 4-way between Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, Street Profits, and Pretty Deadly at WrestleMania. That sounds like a feasible match.
I think so. Like a good match on night 1 to start out the WrestleMania.
So it is really laughable that Jacob Fatu in tag teams is damn near unwinning. He doesn't win. He continues to lose. Never gets pinned, but he always loses. I don't think,
always
honestly,
his brother.
It's always Tama Tonga or it's been Tama Tonga. Now it was Solo. Like, it's kind of laughable that you portray him as this monster, this, I don't even know how to put it. Just a monster, a beast. And then he takes L's. Like, and I get it. You have Damian Priest and Braun Strowman kind of in this weird alliance the last couple weeks. But it's like, you can't portray him as one thing and then you put him in the ring and have him matches. And yeah, he's not getting pinned, but his team is still taking L's. And I think it's kind of ridiculous. So okay. WWE Elimination Chamber is March 1st. It is on Saturday.
Yep, next Saturday.
So coming from Rogers Center in Toronto. So the matches are as followed, or segments. So you have, not in any order, obviously, men's elimination chamber, women's elimination chamber, Tiffany Stratton, Trish Stratus versus Nia Jackson, Candice LeRae. That's going to be an easy dub for Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus. Now this is the one that's taking the world by storm, and we have an unsanctioned match, which it's sanctioned. Okay, people, it's not a real unsanctioned match. Like, oh, you can just do what you want and doesn't really. No, WWE's not responsible. Okay, they have contracts with WWE, so they're obviously taking care of. But for intense purposes, it's basically like a no disqualification match. Because it's the same thing. You can call it unsanctioned, you can call it no DQ, you can call it a street fight, Donnybrook match, whatever jello shot of a freaking name you can give them. It's all the same at the end of the freaking day. It's a no DQ match, guys. It's not that hard. But so we have those 4 matches, and then we have, again, The Rock basically wants an answer from Cody if he agrees to be his champion, which I could give 2 shits about. And
Same here.
And so, this does nothing for anything for nobody. Like Cody coming out and The Rock coming out, and I hope that that's the first thing that they get rid of, and then they can get this shit out of the way, and then we can move on with the rest of the night. Because get that crap out of the way. Don't want it. Don't care for it. And I think
nobody wants it.
I think people are going to be snoozing at the idea of this segment. So, yeah, I'm not about it. It's an abuse of power, and guess what? Your tequila sucks. So
never had it.
His tequila sucks, along with his energy drinks that are now at your local. Your energy drinks are now available at your local Dollar Tree, because that's where energy drinks go to die. So
yeah, I had his energy drinks. I tried every single flavor one, and they all suck.
Yeah, just like his matches. Same, different flavors, and they all suck. So yeah, I'm throwing daggers at The Rock. I don't even care, dude. What are you gonna do? I got 38 subscribers. You won't even pay attention to me. But guess what? In the wise words of a Kurt Angle entrance, you suck. You suck. Yep, I'm going there. I hope I rustle some feathers. Maybe I'll get famous for pissing off The Rock. Awesome.
No, you just get blocked.
Oh, what are you gonna block? Guess what? There's a new sheriff in town, and freedom of speech is okay. So if you don't like it, there's the door. So I can say what I want, man. I'm protected by the First Amendment. But anywho, I digress. So we will be back next Sunday. And we'll see how Elimination Chamber gets played out. For S&Gs, who do you think for the guys is winning an Elimination Chamber?
Other than say, I don't see Seth Rollins or CM Punk, because I think those two are gonna have their own match at WrestleMania. I'm gonna go with John Cena.
It's a tough one, because I'm tossed between John Cena and CM Punk, just because I feel like there's that hidden favor that Paul Heyman owes CM Punk. So I don't think it's Seth. I think definitely not Logan Paul. I
Oh,
wouldn't be.
if it is, I'm gonna be so pissed.
So I mean, I'm crossed between John Cena and CM Punk. Now the women's, like I said before, it's
Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss, Bailey, and honestly, it's a long shot, but Roxanne Perez. Now, I would see this as probably the greatest
Oh.
comeuppings of a wrestler from NXT.
I'm gonna change my pick. I'm not going with Alexa Bliss because I know she's over on SmackDown, and I think they're going to keep her on SmackDown to probably join the Wyatt Six because she's been wearing the same stuff. And when she's explained the Elimination Chambers like her playground,
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's more of a hint towards the Wyatt Six. I'm gonna go with Bailey because Bailey's on Raw, and she's been eyeballing that championship on Rhea every time they're near each other.
Yeah, it's like I just think honestly, if Roxanne Perez wins this, like I will be ecstatic whether she wins or loses, if she, if she goes and faces Rhea, like I don't like it is not gonna bother me if she loses, but the fact that you would have the greatest 4-month stretch of your career in going from NXT Women's Champion to getting essentially opportunity, having the longest reign, the longest time in a women's Royal Rumble match, and to cap it off, go headline WrestleMania. Like, again, I don't even care if she wins or loses at WrestleMania, but just the fact that, like, could you imagine, like, that as in 4 months, you've gone from doing 400, 300 people house shows essentially to being in Elimination Chamber, or sorry, no, being at WrestleMania or at Royal Rumble, the biggest Royal Rumble of all time, literally almost capped what we had at WrestleMania in Texas years ago. There was like 76,000, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And we were at WrestleMania in Texas, it had 78. So damn near comparable, right? So you have lasted the longest of any women ever in the women's Royal Rumble match on the biggest Royal Rumble that there's ever been. Cap it off winning Elimination Chamber, going to headline WrestleMania. Like, what a great 6 months of your life. Like, and she deserves it. Like, I don't know how much anybody watches NXT as much as I do, but like the girl's talented. And like she's arrogant, but she could back it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, she's my dark horse, but like I'm definitely thinking probably Bailey. Bailey, Roxanne. As long as it's not Liv Morgan or Naomi Bianca, that's who I'm going with. So, any of those three. But I think I would literally lose my mind, and I'd probably post a video about it if Roxanne won. So
He'd be cheering.
So
getting his pom poms out.
Oh, dude, prodigy, dude. Hashtag. And I really could give two shits about the Trish Stratus, Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. It's like puppies versus bulldogs. And if you've ever watched WWE as long as we have, you know the puppies reference. Thanks, Jerry the King Lawler. But yeah, obviously I see Trish winning. I don't want them to continue anything after this. Tiffany Stratton's going on to WrestleMania to headline, so let her go. Let her cook, do her own thing. So we're all in mutual agreement, probably across the whole freaking globe. We don't care about the Rock segment, so who gives a shit about that? Now, Sami
News
Zayn.
fest.
So, I mean, it's going to be like watching Queen Charmel.
Frederick's gonna watch this and be like,
Oh yeah, I that's the only way. That's the only reason why I said it. I'll probably get a text message, but
yeah, we'll hear it.
so Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. I see Kevin winning. I see Sami getting put on the shelf. I wouldn't say Sami would come back until after WrestleMania. I don't see them stopping the momentum of Kevin Owens at this point. And
he's on a roll.
I mean, he's basically the fluffier version of Drew McIntyre. I mean, they're both a bunch of crybabies. So, shout out to Drew McIntyre.
I thought the fan that ever said that.
Yeah, I respect Drew McIntyre. Oh, I'm gonna make a shirt. I'm gonna wear it to next time Raw's in town. I'm gonna wear it.
No, it'll be on SmackDown. That's where Drew is.
That's all right. I'll make sure I get seen on the screen.
Just post on Instagram or Twitter and tag him.
I came to see Drew McIntyre, but he cried so much he went to the other show. But yeah, so we'll put a pin in this as we do, and we'll see what happens to Monday and Friday. If anything changes in regards to Elimination Chamber, obviously anything can happen. I mean, obviously the matches are pretty much set in stone, so we don't know if anything else will become of it. But I hope that Naomi and Bianca lose those titles tomorrow if they have a championship match, and then it can look different going into Elimination Chamber. So, but I hope you guys all have a great week. We will see you guys next week. This is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.